Hi, welcome to Fibbers. These front doors, can you get these front doors? These used to be two big glass white doors. 2 nights before we opened, 15 years ago. Someone pushed a supermarket trolley through them. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then this used to be just a passageway down here to 2 big swinging doors with windows in. And just here used to be the famous shelf, which used to collapse down. And our first doormen were Roy
Yes.
and Paul.
Yes.
And then Steve came on board, and his various wives and girlfriends used to sit down there, and Steve would stand here with his shelf out here. These were built when the smoking ban came in, so people could put the drinks on there. Used to be able to see through those windows, but of course they all got covered up with posters and stuff. And then this box office was built
About 3 years ago.
about 3 years ago. And we estimate probably around about 1 million to 1.5 million people have walked through these little doors to see live music.
Okay, so these were the doors that everybody went through up until around about 2003, I think, or 2004, whenever we had to alter the fire escapes. So the first 750,000 people went through this front door. As you can see, Mike's put double no entry signs. We've got double arrow signs. But the first 750,000 that go through the door that have come back still think this is the way in, and that everybody stands here all night saying, please use the other door. The other door is actually that way. So this is how we've altered. Has a big sign on it, way in, entrance and entrance, but still only half the people go through this door.
Box office used to be a big empty space at one point, and there used to be all sorts of tables and settees used to be in here. It was a popular eating area, and also used to be windows to the outside, so people used to really like standing there. That's box office, otherwise known as GT Turbo's kennel, where he sits taking money for clubs, and where we also take money for gigs and stuff like that. I think that came in about 2 years ago, something like that.
It's got some very good posters inside it of Little Man Tate, Jamie T whenever he was supporting Shortwave set, Boy Kill Boy, who just played here recently, and there was a poster of the Arctic Monkeys, but that disappeared.
It was a signed poster of the Monkeys, but we made the mistake of leaving it in one of the poster boxes, and it got stolen one night. I hope somebody made some money out of it. Part of the famous Fibbers tea and thingy set, which came from my flat at the Swan, when I had that those years ago. Moving around here on the very sticky carpet these days. This area here used to be a storeroom, and then a storeroom and a toilet, and then we opened it out and it was an office. Not a very pleasant office a lot of the time, because it used to the drain for the toilet, gents' toilet is out there, and that used to flood, so I used to find myself paddling in gents' toilets down here. Then we knocked it all out, obviously, to put in the footy table and the petrol pump, which had to be lugged in here by a crane many, many years ago. Here's lovely Fibbers gents' toilets. Very fragrant. We've had huge flooding problems once again over the years in here. Just piles and piles and piles of water all over here, flooding all out into the venue. I spent one summer mopping this up every morning, putting in little sump pumps and the whole thing. Other than that, it's just your standard venue bog. Very small and very horrible, if you want to grab it at all. The toilet, the stars of shitting.
These toilets, they're actually more fragrant than the gents' toilets, but they are actually cleaner and more habitable. We've got 3 proper toilets, olive work, and there's less postering goes on, but there is more graffitiing that goes on by girls. So unbelievably, the girls actually draw on the walls more than the boys do. But to say that these toilets have been tiled like this since 1992, nothing's actually got broken in 15 years, which is quite miraculous. However, the ladies' toilets do actually flood more than the gents' toilets. That's because the girls are very naughty at putting whole toilet rolls down the toilets.
Cellar, very, very small for the amount of stuff we shift through here. Drinking habits of people have changed so much over the years. This is before the deliveries come in, so consequently it's very empty. But when the delivery comes in, normally the cases are stacked high. Excuse me, cases are stacked high. Huge amounts of cases over there. Going back 10-15 years ago when we first started, everybody used to drink trad beer. So consequently there would be gantries all along that wall, not bottles. Gantries all along here and down here with 36s or 22s of trad beer. Now of course people's drinking has changed substantially over the years. Now they tend to drink bottled stuff and of course lager. So consequently we don't do so much trad beer. As you can see there, there's just a solitary 3 9s there of Tetleys. Breweries have changed over the years. We saw pretty much everything here from Tetleys, John Smith's, Landlord, Black Sheep, Theakston's, most famously that's what we start with, Black Sheep and Theakston's and Old Peculiar when the Tradale was really, really popular. And of course, as I say, it's all bottles and lager and strong cider. All the draft stuff down there, which is currently Carlsberg, Gamers, Tuborg, Tetleys Cream Flow, etc, etc, etc. Compressor, stuff, and the doors. So outside that used to be a big sliding door there, but eventually it fell off. We had to get it fixed. This is part of the venting to go outside from the air conditioning. And I remember painting this cellar in August of 1992 with the red walls and the white and still some of the grey paint on the floor where I painted the floor. Been in and out of this cellar quite a few times. Thousands and thousands and thousands of barrels of beer and bottles have gone through this tiny little cellar. It's far too small for what it does. In fact, every different drayman that comes here always says, how on earth do you manage? And there was a point when we were doing loads and loads of trad that we used to have 2 deliveries a week. And that's the cellar. I can't say I'm going to miss it really. Yeah, the cellar. When we first came here there was a small bar there, which obviously we ripped out straight away. And after about 2 or 3 weeks of being open, we found to our horror that the fire limit was set at 100 and didn't know what I was going to do. And I pulled into the garage one morning to sort of see an outline of that door outside from the garage, which really, that little door has been one of our saviours because that automatically bumped us up to a capacity of 200. Without that we would have been well and truly done for. My old mate Mick the Brick put that in. All this dance floor stuff is meant to be a dance floor because York City Council said you can only stay open late if you provide an area for people to dance, never mind dancing down there in front of the band. So we had to have this in, and needless to say, numerous people have tripped over that over the years. We used to all have tables and chairs in here, and we moved this furniture around a bit. It used to be a popular eating area. All these here were drawn by a lad called Bob Jackson. These wonderful things here. He charged us £25 for each image, and he would stand there with the image, and We just do it with pencils, simply one by one. I wish we could take them with us, but short of chipping something off the chart, short of chipping the wall out, we can't. And I think it's really, really sad to think that one day somebody will just paint over it, really, which is quite sad. All the framing and everything that was done by an Irishman called, what's it called?
No idea.
This mad Irishman from Leeds called Bob, who came and fitted the place out. We were around about 2 or 3 years after we'd been here, and he redid the roses on the seats and did stuff like this. He just used to stay overnight and sleep on the benches. Grey-haired, wild-eyed guy he was.
For us, we decided to be cheeky, and underneath these floorboards there's a time capsule. So we took all the menus, some of the paperwork, some of the rotors, some knives and forks wrapped up, and cutlery, just because we thought that was funny, and it's all under these floorboards. So whenever Stonewall House gets knocked down, there will be a record of Fibbers existing from about 1994 onwards.
Main part of Fibbers, really, and the bar. 4 or 5 years ago, when we used to be open during the day, loads and loads of people used to sit on here, on stools, drinking coffee, eating sandwiches, making butties, and all the lovely food we used to do here. And hang their coats underneath here. There'll be always loads, and I was going to say barflies then. Oh yeah, there'll be always loads of people sat along here, drinking and smoking and eating and drinking and coffee and all that sort of thing. It used to be sort of like a regular meeting house for everybody. And this is kind of where the main body of everything was done. Years ago when we used to do food, this would all be completely full of tables, right down to the barrier and right up where behind you, Mike, all full of tables. On a Saturday and a Sunday, if you weren't in by 12:30, you just didn't get a table. And everybody would be sat eating, drinking coffees, and etc. When bands on a Saturday lunchtime, which didn't last for long, then bands on a Sunday lunchtime. Before we used to have the air conditioning, the place used to be either really, really hot and smoky or really, really cold and smoky, because we'd open the doors or we couldn't, and we got that thing in there which sort of worked and sort of didn't. But it was always very hot and smoky and very cold and smoky, wasn't it? Whatever, it was always had loads and loads of atmosphere. People didn't seem to mind at all. Where that PA desk is there used to be a huge big table, and the PA guys used to have to get the soundboard out the cupboard and lug it up physically and put it on a table in that corner there, which is now the merch area.
It wasn't originally always hardwood flooring. It started off, we took it over from someone called Ellington's, who had an unhappy ending, let's say, here, but we decided that we would put the hard floor down for the purposes of wear and tear, particularly whenever the gigs were very busy. So most of this floor is reclaimed wood, solid oak, most of it, I believe, but it was taken from various different places. And again, the chap that Tim talked about, the Irish guy, came and worked night and day and managed to piece in all these different pieces of wood. And there is actually some wood here from the Duchess floor, which was the Duchess and Leeds that Tim and I had way back when. So the floor's probably about 100 years old, really, but it's still holding strong. Fibbers 15 years later.
A lot of this wood comes from a wood yard. Myself and John Holder, on the first week we started fitting it out, comes from a wood yard. And the cheapest wood the only wood I could afford was the cheapest, which is all burnt out wood from a burnt out house. So a lot of this wood has already been in a burnt out house already, and then relaid, particularly here, down somewhere near the stage as well. All came from all burnt out wood, which you then had to shave down and revarnish. The floor was redone again about a year ago to make it last another couple of years. But there's been a million or so feet jumping up and down here, spilling beer and everything, especially down the front on the stage there, where all the kids jump up and down. Is there anything else about the bar?
Only that whenever bands play and if the bass is too heavy, we put this pot shelf up about 10 years ago because we were so busy. But if the bass is too heavy or it's a dance night, the glasses just fall on your head whenever you're working behind the bar, which you either get used to or get clunked in the head.
When we first opened, all this was closed in. It was all closed right round here. It used to be a storage area, so our staff would walk straight through to another room there. without being seen. And we used to have a huge telephone box just here. Of course, in the days of mobile phones, these days nobody needed a telephone box, so it was moved once to the rear of the room, and then I sold it to I gave it to a builder. Incredibly heavy thing. When we started doing club nights, there started being some security issues in this corner here, so we had to build this just to keep people away from that corner, really. And about 6 months ago, there were so many people, there was a huge surge one side, and it actually collapsed. So I had to reinforce it at the back there. It's just about the best place in the venue to hear properly. In that corner, you get stuck in that corner, and it just sounds the best, don't know why. Normally that girder takes out about the top end for going down for the rear of the venue, but the best sound ever is kind of around about here.
There was originally seating around this corner, and across the back of the seating there was lots and lots of mirrors, and that's before the stage was actually changed. The stage was actually corner on at that stage, which you'll see later. So you're able to sit in this corner with mirrors behind you in very sort of definite style seating, and above that, which has just been removed, there was a glitter ball that we used to joke about quite a lot from its early days of nightclubs and things, but it was originally seating all in that corner. And the door further down, which you'll see later, the dressing room, was in fact actually the original kitchen. Yes.
Fibbers dressing room, toilet sized, very, very small. Probably around about 12,000 bands, that's planned, and with the crew and everything, that's probably around about 50,000 musicians been in and out of this door many, many times. Great access straight to the stage, which they love, and whether they want to take a look at it, it's not very palatial. Just everybody's been in here for the last 15 years. Pretty much every big band in the country. From Stereophonics to Coldplay to Feeder to just everybody. They've all sat in here at some point. Heavily graffitied. Quite clean actually. For the stage, once again 12,000 bands, 60,000 musicians, all stared out here from all the big bands, loads of locals, all the time. The floor's going through again. The last time was the keyboard player one night only who went through that one there. The guy from the guy from A, the guy from Suppose have all been through it. Death Define Life, so many bands have just fallen through this stage. Drum artists over here, PA, Wedges. The new addition of the last 3 or 4 years has been the DJ group where Mr. Strauss does all his club stuff, etc, etc. That barrier cost us about 300 quid, and it was the best 300 quid I've ever invested in this place. Brings people to the stage. And of course, with the recent increase in the last 2 or 3 years of surfing and slam dancing and really aggressive windmilling and that sort of stuff, this really does come in handy. Why do kids windmill and slam dance? Lights, wedges, bands also play a lot of wedges, you never hear themselves, it's just turned out a little bit. The stage originally was here, very low, it used to be just one step, and it used to come in a semicircle around to there. And the back of it was a DJ system, and our first engineer was a goth with really long black hair, with a girl's name. What was it called?
No.
His girlfriend, his wife, used to work at the Arts Centre, and he used to work down here, but he had a girl's name. I can't remember what it was. And the desk used to sit in there, an old studio desk. He used to mix from behind the band, which was quite weird. When we had that DJ thing taken out, we extended all the stage extensions were all Michelle's idea, rightly so. And then one weekend we had this done, didn't we?
Yes.
The whole thing had raised and made right to the top, and that's kind of really what made it what it is today. Because until then it was just very small and a tiny semicircle. And then we did 300 people for Chumbawamba in here, and for Desmond Decker, rest in peace. just on a tiny little stage, about 6 inches high. Everybody crushed up to the front, loads of skinheads with this Desmond Decker, and all the architect for Chumbawamba and Leeds. On the stage.
I know that underneath it there's 2 stages and also the main drain to York City Council, so if there's ever heavy floods then they have to come here and look underneath the stage for drainage problems.
We'll stand and talk for hours on the stage.
Yeah. It's been soundproofed and soundproofed.
Too sad. And just up here used to be all lovely windows right away across there. Lovely windows. And people used to come and sit all along this top level with tables and chairs and tablecloths and candles and stuff. And people used to sit all the way along here with the sun streaming behind them. There was black and white blinds all the way down there. And we used to close those off for nighttime shows and then open up for during the day or pull it to one side. Or pull it to one side. And then we started doing clubs, and then one lady 200 yards away started complaining, and the council took her side. So we had to spend £20,000 on soundproofing, and then she moved, which was quite frustrating. Nowadays, of course, it's a great vantage point for people to see bands, and they get stuck up to here and sometimes stand on there and jump off, which is a spectacular, stupid thing to do. But now, carried many a meal out from that kitchen up here, meals and food, and just so much food and so much coffee and everything being drunk up here, with the light streaming in from those lovely windows. Open all day until sound checks, 5, 6 o'clock, and people still used to sit in during sound checks, and of course we'd kick them out about 6:30 and then reopen the doors at 7:30. But now, it's got a lot more history.
Fibbers kitchen. This is where I spent the first 10 years of my life, mostly 7 days a week. The kitchen used to be bigger, but we had to steal some of the kitchen for it to become a dressing room, as you've seen before. This is a place I absolutely loved and loathed because it took up so much time, but when Fibbers was really busy we were doing anything up to about 300 meals a day, and most famously the chip butties that were made out of really, really thick bread, squidgy bread, and then a heaped plate of chips which we just sold dozens and dozens and dozens of. And then I invented Tex-Mex food, and we were actually the first place in York to do Tex-Mex. And that Tex-Mex has followed forward now because we're now famous with all the bands because we cook them riders. And every band that comes through the back door always goes, "Is it fajitas for tea?" So I actually think my name is it fajitas for tea? So that's what we're really famous for apparently all over the country. So we still cook for the bands, unfortunately because we don't have any windows, we don't cook for customers. But yes, I have spent 10 years in this kitchen and I'm sad to leave it, and I'm glad that I don't have to cook that much anymore.
All this area used to be one big kitchen. I used to come in through the kitchen door here, and to the side there used to be a load of sinks, and this used to be one big kitchen. Michelle's already taken you around the kitchen. It used to be one big kitchen. Didn't used to be any of these walls here. These have been fabricated by us. And in here is the Fibbers office, where lots and lots of bands have been booked and lots of money's been counted. There's been lots of tears, there's been lots of interviews, there's been lots of sackings, there's been lots of famous tour managers and bands sat in here picking up their 50 quids. Coldplay, 50 quid, Stereophonics, 200 quid, I went mad with that one. All the rest of them, Keen, 50 quid. They've all sat in here and picked up their money and said, "Oh, cheers, had a great night, thank you very much." Usual stuff in here. Didn't used to be computers. When I first started booking bands, it used to be a phone, and I used to have an old diary and just writing everything down. I used to send mailing lists out by fax and this sort of thing. Book everything by phone. Used to get loads and loads of demos. First of all it was little CDs and cassettes. I booked CDs and cassettes of Reef and Radiohead, Supergrass knocking around somewhere. And then of course it went on to onto discs, and now of course it's MySpace. Nobody ever sends you a disc these days, or if they do, I don't know why they do. This is where James sat, this is where I sat, because I'm the biggest and I'm the most powerful, so I have the biggest desk, I make the most noise, and then Michelle is in a little box around the corner, which is the best place for her, to be honest with you. Angie used to work here, Julie used to work here. Paul used to use this office when he was the manager, as in various managers before them. Quite a few managers over the years, really. Some great ones too. And that's basically the office. Doesn't look very exciting and great. That used to be through into. Michelle said it was the kitchen, but it wasn't. I don't know what it used to be. I can't remember. I thought, oh yes, sorry, yes. With this being the kitchen, it didn't used to be the kitchen through there. It used to be the office through there. That's a door there, which obviously we blocked up, but took all that away, you could open it out. There used to be a tiny office in there. So the office is what is now, used to be what is now the dressing room. So the office was in there, and then this was all the kitchen, big bank of sinks along here, and fryers and a huge desk and what have you in the middle there. And then we blocked all that up, made that the tiny dressing room. We didn't have a dressing room in those days. Bands used to come and get changed in the kitchen. And the whole of Chumbawamba sat in there watching Coronation Street in the kitchen there. So we've had some huge bands getting undressed in the kitchen. I think Tom Robinson dried his trousers in our oven, not very healthy. Or of course he used to use the garage outside there. Yeah, it seems weird. In a couple of days I'm not going to be sat here anymore. Weird. Oh, and a piece of history. Until recently, that wire is the only surviving wire of the Fibbers PA. So that bit of wire there has carried about 12,000 bands, a sound of 12,000 bands. So I must take that with me. That's it, thank you. Thank you, Mike.